On September 22nd, 1887, a young man was walking the beach near Fremantle, a city on the west coast of Australia. He came across a dying albatross, and around its neck was a tin band, digging into its throat and preventing it from eating. Inside the tin was a desperate message, written over 5,500 kilometers away, that would set off an international rescue mission. Let's go back a bit. The Tamaris was a French three-masted sailing ship built in 1867. At 47 meters long and able to carry 600 tons, it left Bordeaux, France on November 28, 1886, bound for Noumea in New Caledonia, on almost the opposite side of the world. On board were 13 people, including Captain Majou, and had a cargo full of construction equipment. In late February of 1887, the ship stopped all the way down here in Cape Town, South Africa, for a resupply. From there, Captain Majou had two choices: take the much longer, safer route north of Madagascar with steadier waters, or take a straight shot south of Madagascar, where the winds were stronger but the seas more dangerous. He indeed chose this riskier, faster path. In the early hours of March 9th, 1887, during a severe storm, the Tamaris struck rocks near Penguin Island. This island is part of the Crozet Islands, a small, remote, cold, uninhabited archipelago in the French southern and Antarctic lands. When they struck the rocks, the crew had very little time. They salvaged what they could, mostly just water and biscuits, and hopped in the lifeboats. Rather than stay here on Penguin Island, which was barren, had sheer cliffs, and no obvious spot to land, Captain Majou led the group to nearby Pig Island, where he knew supply depots had been left by earlier ships. Almost 2 days later, when they arrived up here in Pig Island, they found one of these depots, left in 1880, only 7 years earlier, by the English warship Comus. While on Pig Island, they built shelters and survived by eating the stored food, along with elephant seals and penguin eggs from the island. The Tamaris was expected to arrive in New Caledonia by May 7, 1887. When that date came and passed, people began to worry. Meanwhile, thousands of kilometers away, the castaways waited and watched, hoping for a passing sealing vessel to spot them, but months passed with no sign of rescue. By August, the food in the depot was nearly gone, and the crew was growing desperate and antsy. Then they had an idea. They carefully caught several albatrosses, birds known to travel thousands of kilometers, and punched messages into tin. Then tied those messages on the birds' necks with wire and let them go, hoping that maybe one of these would reach civilization. One of the albatrosses traveled this far, 3,500 miles or 5,700 kilometers away, all the way over here to Fremantle near Perth. On September 22nd, 1887, that young man in Fremantle found that bird. His boss took a look at it and looked at the tin and read the message inside. 13 shipwrecked people are refugees on the Crozet Islands, August 4th, 1887, almost 6 weeks before they received that message. They quickly alerted the police, who informed authorities all the way in London, who then contacted France. France had to then locate and prepare a ship to travel through the remote southern Indian Ocean to go look for the crew of the Tamaris, which wasn't easy. With international coordination and rough seas, it took nearly 2 months before France could launch a rescue ship from Madagascar. Finally, on November 18th, 1887, France sent the ship La Meurthe from Madagascar to search all the way down here in the Crozet Islands. They arrived 2 weeks later on December 1st, and for 2 weeks they combed through these islands. While looking on Pig Island, they found shelters and a diary left behind by Captain Majou. The last entry, dated September 30th, 1887, read, "September 30th, our provisions exhausted. We leave for Possession Island." The 13 castaways had built a makeshift boat and set off for Possession Island, which is almost 70 miles or 115 kilometers away. The captain knew Possession Island had plenty of animals to eat and a much higher chance of seeing a passing sealing vessel. So in his eyes, this was their best shot to make it. The boat from Madagascar continued the search on Possession Island after this, and then East Island over here, but they found nothing. The crew of the Tamaris likely perished sometime on their desperate journey on their makeshift canoes on their way from Pig Island over here to Possession Island. They made this journey just 2 months away from potential rescue on Pig Island, and had no idea that one of their rescue albatrosses was already found in Australia while they were making this journey. In their memory, a reef 3 miles southwest of Penguin Island, where their ship was lost, was named the Breakers of the Tamaris, and a plaque with the names of the crew stands on the chapel on Possession Island. If you enjoyed my style of storytelling and examining of remote islands, consider subscribing. I post weekly videos of rarely talked about shipwreck stories and videos examining lesser known islands. Thanks for watching.